Hello traders and investors, welcome back to the Trend Trader channel. We just came from a rough week where we saw some banks in the US and in Europe. They sort of collapsed. We saw that Credit Suisse was bailed out by UBS or by the Swiss government. And also we saw Silicon Valley Bank collapse in the US, and there's fear that collapse can extend to other banks. In South Africa, the banking stocks were affected, but that was the previous week story. This week we are looking at the US market. Some things are promising there. So what we're interested in at this moment, it's the QQQ ETF. Remember that this ETF, it tracks the Nasdaq. So it is what we use to follow Nasdaq or to trade a Nasdaq. So previously we mentioned that we were bullish at that time. The ETF was just breaking somewhere around just above $290 per ETF before it started to move sideways. So now that correction move or that consolidation move, it seemed to be complete. We saw last week there was that huge candle there that was supported by that huge amount of volume. And then earlier this week we see that the candle now QQQ is starting to break above $310 per share. It's still, we see a green candle in there. So this is a promising market. Potentially it could indicate that there is a change in trend in the US market, which simply means that we could start to see the end of the bear market, especially for the companies that are listed in Nasdaq, not necessarily the general market. So with that in mind, we are bullish on QQQ ETF. We've been buying this ETF and we will be adding on it as well as we continue. And obviously we're also interested in the S&P 500 ETF. The SPY, it tracks the S&P 500. As you can see, this one is still the direction, it's a bit erratic, but this could be the bottom of the ETF. And then now it has been starting to print what we saw previously was a higher low, but at this moment we saw that this level was tested again. So waiting to see for S&P 500 or SPY to continue to trade above 400, because this seems to be an important key level. Every time the price approaches this level, then it is challenged. So if you can see a solid close above 405 US dollar per share on the S&P 500 ETF, then maybe we can then say that there is a confirmation of a change in trend. But it is something that we're keeping an eye on. Then now looking at individual companies, there are companies that are starting to catch our interest. You can never have enough Apple shares in your portfolio, so we always like to keep a close eye on Apple. We saw Apple reaching the top there somewhere around $184 per share before it came back to this level of just somewhere below $131. Since then it has been trying to stage a recovery. There was that nice rally there just before the end of 2023 before reaching this resistance level. So we started buying Apple around $155 per share in anticipation that it can break above and come to retest either that just below 180 level or somewhere just below 170 level. So we still have a position there. We're still expecting the share price of Apple to rise, especially if there's a recovery on the QQQ on the S&P 500. But obviously things can always go south. That is why we have a stop loss just somewhere around $151 per share. So this is another stock that we are looking at. We want to see where things are gonna go to. And then other companies that we're interested in, we previously took a position on Tesla. There was a nice rally on Tesla coming from this low, just somewhere around $115 per share. So we managed to get a ride on this rally before our stop was triggered here around $180 per share. Again, Tesla is back on our radar. we are watching for this for trade above this 2 level there, 210 rand, $210 per share. If it does break above this level, then we will initiate another long position. As you can see, the previous high there of somewhere around 400 and something per share, but we don't know how long it can take a Tesla to go back to 400. It might go, it might not go, but above $210 per share, we will be buyers of this stock. So also another thing to keep in mind is that Tesla recently received a positive upgrade from Moody's. So that means that Tesla will be able to sell bonds and raise cash in case they need to raise cash. So that is something positive about the stock. So that is another reason why we like this stock. Now moving to Alphabet. Remember, Alphabet has a lot of share codes, so we prefer to use this share code. So this we can say it's sort of a speculative trade position that we took recently. The stock is still not clear where it wants to go, but you can see last week there was that big upside trade there, which was accompanied by a nice decent volume. So far the momentum is still there for quite some time. So now the stock is back above this $100 level there. So if you can see a breakout, then we will be happy to see the price of Alphabet continuing to trade higher. Obviously we do have a position now. We bought just last week before Friday close, so we bought somewhere around $100 per share, and our stop loss is less than a negative 10%. So our stop loss is just somewhere around $90 per share. In terms of risk to reward, it is not the best risk to reward that we took there, but the upside potential is huge if you consider that the stock can potentially go back $250 per share. That gives us a risk to reward of about 1:5. But in terms of the market structure does not look great, but we are waiting to see get the feedback from the market itself on how this position will play out. Another stock that we have interest in is AMD. Remember, we have a position on Nvidia. That position is up by 35%. So we believe that there seems to be a recovery in the semiconductor sector. You can see since around October, AMD has been attempting to move up nicely. There's been a series of higher lows and also a series of higher highs. So those are nice confirmation that the stock is in an uptrend. So we bought AMD after it broke above this level, just around $86 per share. But you see there's this potential headline resistance there just before $100 per share. But once the stock trades above $100 per share, then it will have a nice a line of least resistance going all the way up. So at this moment we are happy with the AMD position. Again, like we said, that we have a position on Nvidia, and it's a position that has worked well for us. As you can see, we took or we bought Nvidia when it broke above this resistance level. We made a video, we shared a video why we're preferring Nvidia. At that time Intel, AMD were not setting up nicely. So you can see now that we've just enjoyed this ride, but you can see now the stock is coming to this resistance level there. So what we expect to see is maybe it's going to be a bit of a consolidation. If the buyers are strong, then we can see a break on the upside of that consolidation level, which will then see us going all the way to test that previous high of $240 per share. So this is another interesting position that we have in our portfolio. We are keeping a close eye on this position. And then finally, let us look at Meta Platform, another stock that has performed decent in our portfolio. Some people, they loved this company when they're talking about metaverse. Unfortunately, the market didn't give a toss about that stock, but since that bottom of around November, the stock has started to recover. You can see here there was that nice consolidation before the breakout of that consolidation. So we've been buying Meta platforms for a while now. We expect the share price of Meta platforms to continue to move high. So these are some of the stocks that we're interested in the US. If there's a company that you would like us to cover in the US, just make sure that you leave the name of the company in the comment section. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. If you found value in this video, please make sure that you smash the like button. We will see you on the next video.